Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that as it pertains to the female psychopath and sort of getting hooked, getting addiction, getting addicted, getting, so into this person that you're really having trouble sort of navigating the relationship. Either I'm not sure how long you've been in the relationship, but or when what creates this question, but what is the hook with a psychopath relationship? Realize that when you're in a relationship with a psychopath, you're dealing with someone who does not have a conscience, and they really don't have a sense of remorse or regret about things that they have done to others. They just don't perceive that they have done anything wrong. There's a whole bunch of complexity of the wiring of these individuals that is the precursor to what you are experiencing in a relationship with a psychopath. So I think the viewer was asking as it pertains to a female psychopath. So realize that a female psychopath will wantonly want to use the best of both worlds, I would say, in succumbing or seducing their target. So, in other words, how do they get the target sort of eating out of their hands, doing whatever it is that they want? Basically, how they've molded and shaped their behavior. So, this person is basically just trotting along, really, really into, or what you might say, hooked or addicted. And the term hooked or addicted is because there is a neurological, psychological, and neurochemical change in the brain of those individuals who are targeted by a psychopath, which means if they've wanted, them in a personal relationship, a business relationship, or wherever you have encountered this, realize that not only is a psychopath have a pathological sense of self-importance, they have no conscience, which means they don't have any empathy. So the temperature there is pretty close to zero or sub-zero when we talk about the human emotions. They discover that they are different, early in their life. They might have a cruelty to animals. They might be pathological lying about their homework all the time, or lying about where they have been. I mean, to a very pronounced degree. But a female psychopath then learns, I would say, that they, really will navigate by getting what they want. So they will use this, what they would perceive as a difference about them, namely that they don't have any brakes on the car to whatever it is that they feel that they need to do to get what they want. So they realize when most people are afraid to do something, fearful, not that they are, confident. It's a difference than confidence. So if you're, confident to talk to somebody, this is different than not having fear. So if you're confident, meaning I'm now confident to do this, you have repetition and experience. So a psychopath, though, they do not, which is, confidence oftentimes is a absence of fear, but you're aware, but you're not being driven by a paranoia of fear. You're not overwhelmed or engulfed. So there's confidence, what you might call a confident female, but then there is a psychopath female who does not have fear, who does not experience remorse or regret. They don't feel that they have done anything wrong. They will not learn from their past wrongs, fights, spats. So if you've ever encountered a psychopath, and then, when they engage in a fight, oftentimes you might have had, a fight with a spouse where you're like, after this, we're sure to split up. I mean, this is after, and then half an hour later, they're combing their hair and they're like, well, are we going to go out for appetizers? And it's just kind of like, what, what, they do not change. They don't think that they've done anything wrong. They just will continue, along merrily as if this did not occur. So there's just sort of And that's because really there's a difference of their prefrontal cortex. There's a difference of activity, which has to do with judgment, which has to do with morality, which then has to do with learning, and then sort of having a vision for the future. So when you're in a relationship, the psychopath will sort of get you hooked and addicted to a certain level of stimulation. So if to keep it very simple, oftentimes then it is that of seduction, the psychopathic gaze, which then people feels that they are, drawing them in, that there's something seductive, that there's this maybe a sexual appeal about this, or that they are then desirable as felt by this gaze. Desirable, especially for the men. This allure feels very captivating. It feels very good to be wanted, to be desired, to be ravaged, or whatever it is, by this individual. Sort of taking things over. You have to also realize that we will go into that in more detail. But the seduction then, and then which then will lead to oftentimes very inappropriate behavior, improper use of their body, their communication, that are designed to sort of then hyper arouse in the sexual arena those people with whom they seek to get hooked or connected. Meaning, giving little glances, giving little pats, giving touches, giving caresses, especially where and when not appropriate, which then breaks down, that individual. And then, they smile, and then they do it for longer, and then they realize that they've got this person. Oh, well, there's an exchange of, touches or glances. And then, the male then, is then feeling, I am desired, I am desirable, I am attractive. And, they are then, these are very rewarding experiences. So then, but then the problem is then the psychopath will then up the ante if they haven't upped the ante from the beginning, which means they will take this to the next level. Doing things where and when not appropriate, but to another level. Public places, public gatherings, not appropriate for now. And then sort of, this violation of what becomes your boundaries, which you didn't know. But then usually I would think the men then, in the name of love, they think that this is what a relationship is like in the movies, this sort of Gone with the Wind, like, oh my God, it's never been this good. I've never, been this excited, or, they're just walking on cloud 89. And so this is where the hook, it's that psychological buzz, I would say, that is created in the physical body, creates that addiction in the beginning.